Alright, so we've been talking about sequences. The last lesson we did were arithmetic sequences. And tell me about the pattern on an arithmetic sequence. What is each number? What happens to each number? It adds, I was looking for the word add. So it adds the same number every time. A geometric sequence, it multiplies. So it's a sequence that multiplies by the same number each time. The common ratio is the number being multiplied.
Or if you're some annoying twin on Twitter, is whenever okay, I don't know, but
now to find the common ratio, sometimes you will be able to look at the numbers and just know right off, oh, I'm multiplying by 2. But sometimes your common ratio could be a fraction or something, or it may just not be as easy. It might be like multiplying by 13, and you may not just know that right off. So the ratio, if you take any term and you divide the previous term, that will tell you your common ratio. And it's smart, instead of actually using the divide key, go ahead and put it in as a fraction. So the one term on top, the previous term on bottom. And that way, if your ratio is a fraction, it'll give it to you as a fraction and not as like a 3.333333333. Because if that's the case, I don't want you rounding. I want it as a fraction. Yeah. So like on number 1, can you tell by looking at it what the ratio is? What's being multiplied? What do you think? 2. Because 6 times 2 is 12. But if you didn't know that, if you go to alpha y equals and type in 12 over 6, you get 2. So that means it's being multiplied by 2. I could do 24. Oh gosh. 24 over 12. This is sticking. 2. I could do 48 over 24. 2. So that means that I am multiplying by 2. And that was the case all the way across. So if you multiply by the same thing every time, then yes, it is geometric, and the R is 2. And then I also want you to find the next 3 terms. So if I'm at 48, we can multiply that by 2. We get 96 times 2 is 192 times 2 is 384. So these sequences we're multiplying by 2 all the way across. And so if I ask for the next 3, just keep that pattern going. So let's check number 2.
3.
If your numbers are going down, it's definitely going to be a fraction. So if I want to test out 270 over 810, 1/3. So it's multiplying by 1/3. Okay. So 90 over 270, 1/3. Let's see if 90 times 1/3, see if that's 30. Yes, it is. 1/3. So yes, it is geometric. The R is 1/3. So I can find my next three terms. If I start at 30, how do I find the next one? Times 1/3, yes. 1/3. We get 10 times 1/3, 10 over 3, times 1/3, 10 over 9. So those are the next three terms in the sequence. Let's look at number 3. Do you know what's being multiplied? Any ideas? It is -5, yep. -2 times -5 is +10. So if you want to check that in your calculator, you can say, well, -50 divided by 10, yep. 250 divided by -50, yep. -5. So we're multiplying by -5 all the way across. So yes, it's geometric. R is -5. So how am I going to find my next three terms? Keep multiplying by -5. So 250 times -5, negative, gotta be careful, times -5.
Just keep going back and forth just like that.
Yeah, when your R is a negative number, your numbers are going to go negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive. Yep. You are going to get some big numbers or some weird numbers with the geometric sequences. That's normal. So don't just freak out and think your answer's wrong. Alright. What about here? 4 times what? 2. This is actually going to be 2.5. It's not 2. So this is not geometric. So when it's not geometric, there is no ratio. We don't have any next three terms. So we can just move on to number 5. Okay. Now this one, these numbers look a little weird. I'm going to think I probably need to go ahead and just use my calculator. So if I take any term, -1, over by the one before, it would be 4. Yeah. So it's going to be -1/4.
Okay, I missed number 4 because
number 4 is no.
This one is negative.
All right. -1/4. So let's just see if that pattern continues. -1 times -1/4. Yes, it's +1/4. Times -1/4. Yep, it is. So it multiplied by -1/4 all the way across. So yes, it is geometric. My R is -1/4. And then I've got to keep this pattern going. So, whoops, negative 1 over 16 times negative 1/4. How am I getting a fraction? Well, how am I getting it in the calculator is what I'm asking. Like, how do I type in a fraction? Alpha y equals, yep. We get 1 over 64 times negative 1/4. Good. Questions? Number 6. Let's see. Let's see. 8 over 3.2 is 2.5. Try 20 over 8. It gives me a fraction, which is still 2.5. Yep. Is 20 times 2.5 50? Yes. So yes, it is geometric. My R is 2.5. So now find the next 3 terms. So we have 125, 312.5, and the 781. Now let's think about some of these. If I ask you to find like the 13th, 14th term, that would be kind of annoying to keep doing times negative 1/4, right? Like, and you're probably going to make a mistake. You're probably going to miss a negative or something weird. So I'm going to give you a formula, just like I did with arithmetic, that will let you find any term in the sequence. It's a lot faster, a lot easier than doing it this way. It's a little bit different. So AN equals A1 times, and then in parentheses we're going to put our R. And then it has an exponent of n minus 1. That is in the exponent, so be cautious. What is your A1? First term, good. What is R? It is the ratio, good. So we're going to write out the rule or the formula that goes with this sequence, and then I'm going to find that specific term. So AN equals, we start with our A1, which is the first term, 1 times, nope, it is not 4. It's adding 4 the first term, but it doesn't keep adding 4, so it's multiplying by 5. Yep. So my ratio is 5, and then n minus 1 goes in the exponent. So, yep. So then when I ask you for the 7th term, we plug a 7 in for n. So 1 times, I want you to be in the habit of putting parentheses around your r. It won't always make a difference, but it does sometimes. So just do it all the time, just to be safe. How do I get something in the exponent? This little arrow, this button right above the division sign, right there. So hit that, and then you type in 7 minus 1, or you can just type in 6, because I know that you can do 7 minus 1 in your head.
15,625.
Yes. Number 8. What is my ratio? It is 1/2. So if you take any term, 16.25, over the one before it, you get 0.5. I'm okay with that as a decimal because it's just 0.5. If it's a repeating decimal, I want it as a fraction. But as a, what is 0.5 as a fraction? Oh, you can't even see that, can you? 1/2, yep. Maybe. So AN equals A1. We start with our A1, which is 130, times R, which we said was 1/2, or you can do 0.5 there, that's fine, to the n minus 1 power. Now, what term am I asking you to find? The 6th. So A6 equals 130 times 1/2 to the 6 minus 1 power.
So we can use 2/5 as 1/2, right?
Well, it would be 0.5. Yeah.
65 over 16.
How do I put that half in?
You do alpha y equals. You can type in a fraction. And I did not type in the parentheses like I was supposed to. But this is one that it wouldn't have made a difference.
Alright. 5 over 16?
Yep. Alright, number 9. I'm asking you to find the 8th term. So, well, we got a long ways before we get the answer to that. We first got to write the formula. So we start with our A1, which is 2, times my R. And yep, some of you said it is -4, but in case you didn't know that, if I get a fraction and type in any of these terms, over the term before it, which is 32, I get -4. To the n minus 1 power. Yep, and I'm going to find the 8th term, which means I'm going to plug in an 8 here for n.
Oh, I got the answer.
Okay, hold on. I'm giving everybody a time to get it. And it is negative 32,768. Are there any questions so far?
Can we be done with this?
Watch it. All right, there are 3 questions on the back. I want you to work on these 3 by yourself. See if you can answer those. All right, so here's the answers for 10, 11, and 12. When your ratio is a fraction, if you actually use the fraction button, it'll give you your answer as a fraction, and you won't have to convert it at the end. Same thing as when you are finding the ratio. Instead of using the divide key, like 90 divided by 135, type it in as a fraction, 90 over 135, and it will give you your answer in a fraction, and you don't have to convert it. Are there any questions on these 3? Okay. Now, 13, 14, and 15, we had some like these in the arithmetic sequences. And it's a little bit harder, it's a little bit more confusing, I guess, to find the ratio for these without just guessing and checking. And sometimes if you guess and check, you might get it. But I'm going to show you how to do it without. Because what if I made the ratio like 2/9? The probability of you guessing 2/9 is pretty slim. So I'm going to show you how to do it, how to work it out. And it looks a little confusing. I will be glad to explain the why behind it, but for now I'm just going to show you how to find it. And if you really want to know why, I can show you that after class. But to find the ratio, it's not going to be a fraction, we're not going to subtract. It's going to be some kind of root, like a square root, a cube root, or something. And so to know what kind of root it is, we have to label. This would be A1, A2, and A3. We label just like that on the arithmetic sequences. So we're going to subtract the 3 minus the 1. So that's going to tell us what kind of root it is. And then under the radical, we divide. 100 divided by 4. Now on your calculator, don't just hit a square root button. Like, I'm going to show you how to type in any root that you want. So if you hit math, and it's number 5. So if you go to math, and then the 5th one, it lets you type in whatever root you want. So we're going to type in a 3 minus 1, or you could just go ahead and type in a 2 there, which is really a square root. And then under 100 divided by 4 tells me that my R is 5. So in this sequence, this geometric sequence, I'm multiplying by 5. So going back to the sequence, I need to fill in the blank. What's 4 times 5? 20. Yep. And is 20 times 5 100? It is. Yep. So in number 14, this would be A1, A2, A3, A4. So my R is going to be some root. It's going to be a 4 minus 1, which is a cubed root. And then under the radical symbol, I'm going to type 13.5 divided by 4. Math 5, 4 minus 1, 13.4 divided by 4. We get R equals 1.5. So we can use that to go back and fill in these terms. 4 times 1.5.
6.
Yep, it is 6. Times 1.5.
9.
It is 9. And double check, is 9 times 1.5 13 and a half? Sure is. And the last one, go ahead and label A1, A2, A3, A4, A5. It's going to be a 5 minus 1, or a 4th root. And then underneath the radical, 1250 divided by 2. So math number 5 lets me type in whatever kind of root I want. So 5 minus 1. And then underneath the radical is where I do 1250 divided by 2, which is where I get the 5.
I'm already done.
So 2 times 5 is what? Times 5? Times 5? 250. Very good.